Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, riveting, and amazing Propagandacast with me, host Imperial Dane, the one, the only Master Propaganda Hero, Site Defender of the Fatherland, off here to a 1v1 on. You guessed it, it is Amilly Fields. In the north, it is VonLewinski, fighting for the British Army, the Commonwealth. Here with the 7th Armoured, the Desert Rats, with special weapons featuring the Tank Hunter section, resupply half-tracks, hold the line, crocodiles, and the concentrated operation. In the south, it is El Dorado. Fighting here for the Wehrmacht, Germany, Deutschland. Here with the 9th Panzer Division here with Osttruppen, featuring, well, the Osttruppen, entrenching tools, artillery field officers, supply drops, and the railway artillery support. We got a double grenadier start versus double section. No Osttruppen. Guess he's just one of those chaps who skips the Osttruppen entirely. We do see those from time to time. And as always, a big hearty thanks to my Patreon supporters, valuable supporters of the Propagandacast and its continued efforts. A big thanks to all those other people following the heroic example. Become one of the Propaganda Legions. Many wonderful people by Patreon, or they can donate by PayPal. Links are in the description. And if you're in the market for pre-order incoming fingers, one thing in the comments, use the code STUG3G. And I get a small part of the sale. No, comment, like, share, subscribe. So, University following up VonLewinski and the British Army. Rolling out with that one was a highly, well, flexible element there. Saw a lot of variations in the British Army for various purposes. You had used as tractors, transports, reconnaissance, weapons platforms, anti-tanks mounted on them, Vickers, heavy machine guns, the Vickers K. You also had the flamethrowers. There's lots of things are happening with it, really. 3rd Gunnery's got the Dorado. Sappers on the way there, so looks like no machine guns at least to begin with here. University's just dashing straight ahead here as El Dorado's trying to draw the carve point against any immediate British encroachment here. Pioneer there, of course, quickly pushing to cover. The University's having none of that with this little Bren gun. But he's pushing eastwards, got the eastern field point here. Section taking some sandbags, and we got the Sappers there setting up from the British base. Pioneer here with the University. So, of course, the question for El Dorado is, what is he planning to do with this commander? If not the Osttruppen. I mean, it's not like, you know, the rest of the stuff is bad. But typically people go for this primarily for the Osttruppen. Supply drop is also a good one, but then you can also like going for other commanders, like Luftwaffe supplies. So, there must be something else here. Anyways, 4th Grenadiers got there for Dorado, and the center Grenadiers pushing westwards there. In the east, the Grenadiers pushing eastwards, see if we get the section of force back. Caught in a bit of a bad spot here. The Grenadiers were able to lay them down with some hard-hitting Car-9 TK bolt action fire. Sappers busy there with the Universal Carrier. Also, fun fact, the Soviets received a bunch of Universal Carriers and would typically use them in their reconnaissance formations, the Rota Razvedki. Fun fact. Medics here for VonLewinski. That's actually a pretty fast medic. Like, VonLewinski doesn't have a lot of troops on the field already. That's not to say the medics aren't bad, but typically British players will focus a bit more on troops before going for medics. So, definitely a bit of an unusual build order in that sense from VonLewinski here versus El Dorado. We got the Grenadiers here Pantherfausting it. They do get a bit of extra range here on the Pantherfaust thanks to this little bulletin. Grenadiers playing around the Sappers here, trying to get to the Investigator, finish off with another Pantherfaust, but obviously VonLewinski's looking to show that with his Sten gun wielding Sappers here against the Grenadiers. They're down to 3 men, half health. But yeah, he's going to make a move for the optical improvement here, so basically going in from 2 sides here, pinching it, and that ensuring that no way it goes. El Dorado will finish it off here to 9 VonLewinski at the early Universal Carrier. So thumbs up there to El Dorado. Good map choice versus the British so far. Better blow there to him. Like to make a nice gun for El Dorado. SS take the head here. Thumbs up to that as well. VonLewinski, I suppose, could be tempted to go for an armoured car in response to the 2-2. Then again, he has gone for special weapons. So Tank Hunter sections is very likely. So meanwhile, though, the VonLewinski sections are just running right through the rear lines here, hitting all the car points, and that way looking to mess with the economy and force El Dorado to respond to this little raider section. Thumbs up at VonLewinski, making the best of a rubbish situation. Smart play there, smart play for sure. North here, British forces advance here, sandbags down. West side here, Grenadiers creeping on the western fuel point here. Looks like it's going to make a beeline here for the fuel point, try and grab at least rendered neutral here. That said, I don't think El Dorado is about to make this particularly easy to achieve. Mines being laid down the field point there. Smart move there by VonLewinski. If he does, of course, doesn't get spotted doing so. In which case, it's a bit awkward. Oh, this, would you believe us if we said we were laying down Easter eggs for you? Oh, alright. Try. 2-2 there on the way for El Dorado. Leichte Panzerspielwagen 222. Or Stundenkraftfahrzeug 222. So, nothing there from VonLewinski's base. No officer, no sniper, no armored car. Again, does appear like a tank hunter section that is being lined up here and might be going for several of them. Some players do like to rely heavily on their tank hunter sections. And there you go. 2-2 out here for El Dorado. Grenadiers Pioneer in the center. Both fuel and control of El Dorado as well and the German army. This is pretty great for El Dorado, obviously. Less great for VonLewinski. Significantly less great. He's definitely planning at least one tank hunter section. And the way he's pulling so much manpower, like going for the troops, definitely has me think he might be planning multiple tank hunter sections. Pioneer straight into a mine here. So I do think he's at least gone for a Vickers machine gun team, but there you go. He can finally call in his tank hunter section. There you go. First 5-man team there with the Boys anti-tank rifle. And in a pinch, they can be upgraded with the PIAT, which stands for Projector Infantry Anti-Tank. So moving ahead with these Boys anti-tank rifles. Sandbags on the car point, making use of the commander that way. Thumbs up. He could also consider calling in the artillery field officer, we think is a pretty solid but overlooked Wehrmacht unit. He brings a lot of utility to the field. And as an individual unit, he's also just quite good in close quarters action. Armor covers the tank on the section, anti-tank grenade off there, leaving the 2-2 crew there in a bit of a bad spot there. And that's going to be finished off easily by VonLewinski's tank hunters, who are just as adept at hunting armored cars. And the west side here, Grenadiers versus the sappers. Then the squad moving in. But I don't think he's going to have to save the 2-2, and there you go. Pop goes the Weasel, VonLewinski, they're still flooding manpower, and again, I'm guessing another tank hunter section. Yup. So that was basically the strategy for VonLewinski, and we got a sniper now for the British player on top of the 2 tank hunter section. He's going to flood with the sniper. Probably waiting there for the tank hunter sections. Obviously, if it goes that way, El Dorado can't just say, go for a armored car to like try and dive after the enemy sniper, and that makes countering the British sniper then a lot tougher. So VonLewinski clearly had a strategy, which definitely also meant conceding a lot of ground here against El Dorado, and this could of course mean El Dorado may just push ahead for armor fast here against VonLewinski, and that could of course then backfire. So VonLewinski is taking a bit of a gambit here versus El Dorado. But if he can make it work, El Dorado goes for a second 2-2. An interesting move here, considering his opponent's got like tank hunter sections out, like at least one, and for most British players, like if they go for one, they typically go for 2 actually, so the armored car in that regard, 7 is a bit of an odd choice because 2 tank hunter sections will much more easily make shorter work of a 2-2 here. Obviously, he might be trying to use it to like that way help control the map versus VonLewinski more, but I don't know. I feel like you should be saying that fuel aside there for some faster armor, rather than committing to a second armored car. Of course, the supply drop he just called in can of course help the system with some fuel anyways, plus munitions and the MD-34 and the PaK-40, but yeah, now he might still want to go for something else. Oh wait, we got a second sniper here. VonLewinski really going to the dark side here, but going for a double sniper strategy.
Enemy causing trouble, trying to take one of our points.
Definitely going for the dark side of things here, the force. And coming to a third tank hunter section, corresponds to the second 2-2 here. There you go, also probably anticipating that his tank hunter section were about to get wiped out. Really good flanking here by El Dorado, by the way. Now he's threatening the sniper's retreat path here as well with the armored car. The tank hunter section will be... Oh, there you go, armored car's going to rush straight into it. And we do get an anti-tank hit, meaning the sniper actually has a clear chance of retreating. Did he actually lose a sniper there? Just have to check. No, he didn't lose it, he just cancelled it in time in response to the developing situation. He cancelled the second sniper here, realising that with the second armoured car and the loss of the tank hunter section there, that the situation would not be particularly viable for a second sniper there. So, good move for El Dorado. The armoured car may in fact have proven to be a much better choice there than I anticipated initially. In this regard here again, counteracting by sheer happenstance a second sniper, which has definitely been very uncomfortable for El Dorado, because in particular the Wehrmacht double snipers is really, really nasty, since, you know, 4-man squads means you just need 1 volley, and that Grenadier squad has to ship out of there or risk annihilation. Rifle grenade off here. Could get another tank hunter section here, though. Another blow to the British Army, and the 7th Armored Desert sniper that pushed back. There's the Grenadiers. Rip into them with the MG-42s there of the Grenadier. East side here, British forces advancing as well there. 7th Armored Desert Rats here making good progress against the Germans despite everything. the healthy amount of infantry on the field nonetheless fosters good map control. Machine gun net crewed by the Pioneer, the MG34. Got the Pack 40 there as well ready. Center Gratney. In a few moments past the Grenadiere. We do have the company command post up here for VonLewinski. So rushing straight ahead for armor here versus the Germans. And again, this is despite, always good map control from El Dorado, dying both fuel points. Partly, but again, that's really just one of those British advantages that typically tend to get overlooked, is they really only have like 2, maybe 3 tiers in a sense. Like you got the tier 0, you got tier 1, you got tier 2 in a sense. And on top of that, like they're kind of cheap as well and just doesn't quite anything, just pressing a button. So even if like you do deny a British player like a fair amount of fuel, they can still like relatively quickly tech up and push for like medium armor at a pretty rapid pace here. So despite everything here from El Dorado, despite holding both fuel points for a fair amount of time, VonLewinski can still hit him with a fairly rapid medium tank. And this is a bit the risk then of going for the second armored car, but at the same time it clearly did its work there. So obviously it was not a waste, but again, it does open up, the perilous door of the British player just hitting you really fast with medium armor. So, definitely a bit perilous here for El Dorado. Sniper there with tank on a section cores, forming up a pretty prickly position. A veritable hedgehog of a position here, which El Dorado just can't easily deal with. Because the tank on a section keeps the armored cars at bay, and the sniper ensures the gunnies can't easily push through either. West side, MG34 there on its own. Kind of risky there by El Dorado. Obviously, the center is more like send it after the sniper, obviously, but I feel like there's a number of bad things that could happen to it over there that could just risk the British getting an MG34. Cromwell on the way there for VonLewinski. Sees an eastern point with the Pioneer. To the 2 that could of course do some repairs. Tech almost done there for El Dorado. And the 9th Panzer Division machine gun needs to retreat here. Sniper joining in. Yeah, again, we sort of see here the risk that, was very much incurred by El Dorado. And it may not, in fact, bite him in the arse. Like a really irate cat that hasn't been fed all day. And there we go. And of course, remember, feed your cats. But there you go. Machine gun wiped. If we do get guns nearby, that might make it tough here for VonLewinski to seize the machining there, ensuring that it does not fall into the British Museum eventually. Good call. Work there, I suppose, for El Dorado. But even then again, he should have retreated that machine gun sooner if not had it. Not had it there in the first place in the position to get wiped. Cromwell's out here for VonLewinski, and again, El Dorado just has a Pack 40. He has to be up to get the Supremo Core or anything else. There you go. 2-2. Immediately knocked out here by the Cromwell. So, El Dorado here in a pretty rough spot now. As VonLewinski slams into him there with a Cromwell Mark IV cruiser tank. East of the Pioneers, far up north, they need to retreat back to base and get that Supremo Corps. They need to get for that Panzer IV or Stug 3D or whatever as soon as possible. I definitely don't think this is something El Dorado ought to be delaying. Procrastination on your panzers against the British is typically not ideal. Can you see in the center here? Got the Cromwell bracing its way through here. Snarming in there, 10 kill threats and 1, some mines going off. They're killing Friedrich and Otto. Sandbags in the center here. Still no artillery field officer. 6-pounder gun there for VonLewinski and the British Empire. Tank on the section packed up at the sniper pushing on the center here. Cromwell moving westwards. Sappers moving out. Machine gun also deciding that perhaps there are better places to be rather than in the middle of a road where British tanks are known to travel. There we go, Supremo Corps there for El Dorado. Panzerunterstützungskorps. Would it be Unterstützungspanzerkorps? Anyways, tank on the section holding up here with their anti-tank rifles. Cromwell racing through the center. There's the tank on the section there. Holding up here.
Our infantry are ready to hold the line.
So, good push here by VonLewinski again, backed up by that Cromwell here. Oh, and he pops hold the line as well here. I mean, this is also like, he's just basically holding like pretty much the entire front line then, so he needs to pop it. Works for a minute. Perhaps he may have popped it too soon. But, it also creates another obstacle for Dorado and like trying to push back against VonLewinski here. So, very devious there. Very devious. So, needs help with the fact that, there are some pretty large points on this map. Like, just these two, like, fields here on each side of the center victory point cover massive swaths of terrain here. So, it becomes very easy, like, that plus that. And just, boom, you got, like, effectively, like, the entire front line locked down. Very potent. Panther almost done here. Of course, you may think, well, his opponent's not a tank, but at the same time, it acts as a deterrent, ensures that Dorado doesn't do anything. He just gets a nice, ability to bleed out his opponent and gain some free resources. So in this case, he's clearly, like, willing to spend 150 munitions for just, like, well, about 47 free munitions, a bunch of free fuel, and again, several free ticks on the victory point counter. Of course, whether or not this is worth it for VonLewinski is another matter to discuss, but he clearly thinks it's worth it. Panther 4 out there for Dorado, though. The Panzerkampfwagen 4. And won't send it back up. There's a Grenadier here, tank on it. Oh, regular section actually being bombarded. 6-pounder gun up to the Panther 4, punching through the frontal armor. The Panzerkampfwagen here. Tank on the section, pursuing the Panther 4. Grenadier screen there. Routed, leaving the Panther 4 already unsupported. Machine gun setting up here. Could catch the tank on the sections. Force retreat west side here. Pioneers breaching up the left flank here. East side there. Grenadiers moving up here. But they caught by another section. They are very much hastily dispatched there. Unable to overcome the British defenders. In the center west, machine gun there, pushing back the troops there. Another tank in the section takes it from the Panther 4. More suppressive fire here against VonLewinski. Grenadiers still being blasted out by the sniper. They've got 15 kills, 22 Panther 4 moving up here, trying to dislodge some of VonLewinski's men here. But I think without further infantry reserves here, Dorado can't do much here. Certainly not without some artillery support. A mortar could be a good addition here for Dorado, honestly. Here going to flank in, try and do the deed instead for Deutschland. And there you go, Panther flanking around here. Not bad as such, but of course still need to keep in mind the potential enemy crumble there. Now the question, of course, will VonLewinski be planning... No, he might be planning bigger with the Comet, as he's already gone for hammer tactics here. Which, of course, may also have been another reason he went for the hold of the line, so again, he could just more safely pull for that as well there. So, again, surprisingly powerful ability depending on the amount of map control you have. He's going for the tank on his head, pushing them back.
We're ready for orders.
Got the machine gun on the way there for VonLewinski, the Vickers. Big push in the center here with the Grenadiers here, which is probably at this point why it's a good idea for VonLewinski to bring in the machine gun here. The Grenadiers can definitely make some very strong pushes that can be difficult for VonLewinski's tank on the section to withstand when there's 4 light machine gun Grenadier squads here. Sniper there, though, racking up the kills there against the advancing Germans, the Jerrys. Take that, you Han bastard! Was sagst du? Ich weiß nicht. Sprecht nicht English. And he is there pushing back the section.
Our capture point. That's right.
Grab the center point there. Panther 4 there being fixed up. Machine and Gewehr setting up here for Dorado and Deutschland. 9th Panzerdivision. 5th Panzer Grenadier Company, lots of sandbags here. Here's the tank on the sections there. Almost like they're the Grenadier Pioneers. Which, for those who do not know, are particularly, well, a specific part of the actual German infantry divisions. That basically, I think it was like every battalion is like a company's worth of Grenadiers who are also trained to act as pioneers. So, little fun fact there. I don't believe the Panzer divisions, Panzer Grenadiers had them though, but German infantry divisions would have had Grenadiers, again, trained in that sort of element there. Little fun fact. Anyways, telemines here from Dorado. Thumbs up. Panther 4 there, almost done for Dorado. Back here, troop reinforcing healing. 2nd Panther 4 almost done. I mean, they just give Dorado more immediate numerical superiority with the Panzers, though, of course, VonLewinski will likely soon be heading in the future with the Comet or the Crocodile. That said, I'd suspect more likely the Comet, as it is cheaper, faster out, of course, just generally faster, but also is pretty good for its cost. That's not to say, of course, the Crocodile isn't good for its cost either, but the Comet is just, faster out. Got the snub there. poked a bit at by the Grenadiers before deciding that maybe there are better places to be. Second Panther ready, should definitely at the Pillman machine gun. Another push for the center. This time the Vickers is ready, making these kind of attacks, well, significantly less efficient and attractive for El Dorado. East side here, Panther 4 though, overwhelmed by the 6 putting on the Cromwell here. Definitely a mistake there tactically by El Dorado. Perhaps he was hoping to like make a pincer, use the Panther 4 on the east as bait to draw away attention, but obviously with this Vickers in the center that didn't work out. And there we go, hold the line here. High risk of El Dorado losing his second Panther 4 as well now, which would be incredibly bad. I mean, it's already bad he lost his Panther 4 there, but losing the second one would be a very, very catastrophic here for El Dorado. At this point, he may actually need to consider a second supply drop, simply for another Pack 40 machine gun, plus more resources of the munitions and fuel kind. Sniper meanwhile keeps bleeding out there on El Dorado. Fixing up the Panzerkampfwagen 4, west side fuel point, let me see if the gun is sandbags down as well. Again. And there we go, VonLewinski with the Comet cruiser tank. Which was basically just a bigger turret with a bigger gun mounted on a mildly modified, I think, Cromwell chassis. So, fun fact there. Sort of the Soviet approach, which again was like just, you know, stuff a bigger turret with a bigger gun on an already, like, exists, you know, widely and easy to make chassis. So anyways, going to use the center here with the Vickers and the tank hunter section. That Vickers can be an excellent gun here to support VonLewinski's position. Of course, the addition of sandbags here, great, except the machine gun wasn't quite in heavy cover, so the Gunners were able to, like, just rip through it. That said, again, still head on attack here, ahead on attack by El Dorado. Into the machine gun is still inadvisably for El Dorado. He should at least attack from, like, you know, wider angles, or at least bring in a mortar. Or, you know, maybe have the officer run about to pop smoke as well. I mean, there's, you know, a lot of utility in the officer. Tank in the section, they find their car ruined alongside your one mate Hammond there. 6-pounder gun there as the Panther 4. There we go, Comet tank out here for VonLewinski and the British Empire. There we go, good shot on the well, theoretically good shot, but actually didn't do too much. There we got more sandbags here from VonLewinski. Very consistent work there against El Dorado. Machine gun setting up in the center, though, of course, got to be target practice for the British sniper. I'm going to go for another Panther 4 unless he's planning tier 4. He's not. That's it. With the comment out, I'd say there's increasingly more sense in going for a Stug here for El Dorado. In fact, getting a pair. And of course, maybe considering some mortars here. Or at least the officer in the center there. Troops being suppressed here by the MD-34. Sniper crawling through, but he's suppressed as well here. And there you go. Taking heavy damage. Got back to the MD-34. I don't know what's going on in front of VonLewinski. Seems like a tactical mistake. And on the other side. And there you go. The sniper gets wiped out with the MD-44. Great kill here for El Dorado. Removes a particular nasty thorn in his side here that's really just been steadily frustrating his attempt to both attack and defend. That is a big tactical win there for El Dorado. Of course, there's still the issue of the Comet and a lot of the other nasty British things, but getting rid of the sniper just go a long way to making things more manageable for El Dorado versus VonLewinski. A long, long way. Comet there quickly fixed up. Whatever light damage it suffered has been fixed. Go straight for the MD-34 with the Comet, shooting it using the trainee to make it harder for El Dorado's Pack 4 to get a clear line of fire at it. Thumbs up to VonLewinski there. Second Panther 4 ready for El Dorado once more. I think he would benefit from Sturmgeschütze here versus VonLewinski. Trenches being dug in here. Again, he's pretty much sort of figured out here what El Dorado tactically does. You know, he's just going to keep pushing up here for the center, maybe up to the east. So that way, lining up defenses with sandbags and trenches to sort of protect against those kind of attacks is, of course, the smart move. We did get a smoke grenade attempt here from VonLewinski that might have slightly helped El Dorado, though only slightly. And there you go, Gammon Bomb. Can actually hurt the pack crew quite a bit. There you go. Jürgen and Ulrich there, basically dead. And Fritz and Franz there have their eardrums blown out. And there's a good chance you might lose. We do get the Panther 4 flank of the Cromwell, but the other Panther 4 is nowhere near to be seen here. And there you go, Gammon Bomb number 2 clears out the pack crew. Almost took out a Trin Grenadier squad as well here. Machine gun wiped again, but this is some pretty harsh fighting here over the center between VonLewinski and El Dorado. And there we go, VonLewinski wrecks El Dorado's Panzerabwehr Kanone 40. He does go in for another one here. Straight shots then for the Comet. And the Cromwell pushing back the Panther 4 here. Lots of reinforcement healing here going on as the Pack 4 is being hauled to the front line here. Got the Comet moving up here. 2 kills. Slowly approaching Matrix 1. Good shot on the Panther 4 by the Comet. Panther 4 though does go return here on the British cruiser tank here. Another hit there. Pack 40 right around the corner of El Dorado. Ooh, talk about lucky. That actually looked like it was going to be a hit, but somehow it missed. That is incredibly lucky there for El Dorado. Exceedingly, kinda bananasly lucky. And then he pushes like a bit more with another shot from the Panther 4 here, but it does work. The shot goes through, and the Comet is now in a pretty weak state here for now. Will need some time to get patched up there. Got the guns against this section there. We've got Cromwell under fire from the Pack 40 here. Now they head on assault, and again into the Vickers machine gun. Though again, it's not quite. I mean, the gunners of the section are in heavy cover, but the Vickers itself still managed to not be in heavy cover. That's a bit awkward there for VonLewinski. But in this case, works out. And again, El Dorado's continued insistence on making, like, you know, mass infantry assaults straight up the center that continues to, you know, be significantly inefficient. Except, of course, if you're the British machine gunners, in which case it's very efficient for them. And you're dealing with the tank hull section there.
RE sappers reporting in.
So we'll have to see if VonLewinski goes for next. Maybe another Comet. He was going to go for the Cromwell. There you go again. Hold the line. Buy himself some breathing space, as obviously El Dorado's going to be very disincentivized towards attacking into that. Takes the Panther 4. I mean, he could go for another Panther 4, third one there. Again, I would suggest some Sturmgeschütze and a mortar. Artillery field officer would also be a very handy addition here for El Dorado versus VonLewinski. He does provide a fair amount of utility, and the ability to deploy smoke could be a very crucial tool there in frustrating VonLewinski's ability to form up a cohesive defense across this particular line. Alright lads, we just have to hold the Churchill line. Which Churchill? What do you mean? It obviously shouldn't be any like doubt about which Churchill we're talking about here. Really? Well, which Churchill is it then? Shut up!
The enemy have 300 points.
I'll have you digging latrines in front of the Germans.
Where do you want this Comet?
Asshole. I heard that. We should be enforcing healing, fixing up the Panther 4.
Warmed up and ready to go. Tank ready. Ready.
Come falling a bit back in. We got a Bofors quick fire forward middle anti-aircraft gun being set up here by VonLewinski. Pack running up to fight the Comet. Shot bounces off the Comet's frontal armor. Panther on the eastern side here, halfway to 52. Plenty of fuel being flooded here by El Dorado. He's got both fuel points. He's just leveraging much. And there you go. We got the railroad artillery strike here against the center of VonLewinski's positions here. Cromwell about to get knocked out with the Packs and the Panther 4s, but looks like it may just escape here.
Infantry section wiped out.
Got a wipe as well in VonLewinski, though I don't think it's the railroad artillery support. Probably more the grenadiers. Still, railroad support, even like it directly doesn't kill anything except maybe a few like worms. The crucial part is it did remove the machine gun from the equation, and suddenly again the grenadiers can do a lot more work, and that means the rest of El Dorado's force can also do a lot more work. He'd still benefit from more armor. Oh, did they get... I think they got wiped inside the trench there. Maybe, I don't know. He's down to just 2 tank sections though. And, whoa, okay, VonLewinski is going hard in on the snipers here versus El Dorado. Guess that's one way to respond to it. Still nothing there from El Dorado. Except, oh, we do get tier 4 there on the way now. Do get tier 4. Tactically bombarded the Panther 4 here. Gunny assault into the trench here.
Marksman trained.
First sniper done. Panther 4 bombarding, but misses instead, wrecking some old stone works. Machine gun there gaining the ASL, that's pretty nice there for El Dorado. Machine gun being pushed back. First sniper out. Pretty late snipers there. There's honestly more something you expect out of Companies 1 rather than Companies 2.
Infantry squad trained and ready to
Now the tank hunter section out here for El Dorado. There you go, second sniper ready. Quickly moving in to occupy the trenches again. He squad need to be careful. We'll get wiped. Got rifle in the trench here, and decent hit there, killing 2 men, snuffing them out. Machine gun also being pushed back.
our infantry.
Panther 4 to they're good to go. Still nothing though here. He's gone for tier 4. We haven't seen a heavy Panzer Corps. At least just going to help maybe make the these reinforcements a bit cheaper. So I know what he's playing is a Sturmpanzer, as a Panther. Will be Panzerwerfers here. Got the snipers running about here. And again, basically means like, you know, any Grenadier squad will have to pretty much retreat after one volley, or they're going to get wiped on the second one, most likely. And we get showing a trench there. Being fairly cautious with the sniper this time around, perhaps anticipating that El Dorado will go for a counter sniper, though El Dorado does not seem interested in that set. We do get the heavy Panzer Corps finally got the El Dorado, and the 9th Panzer to be shown here. We got 279 versus 205. A lot of munitions here for VonLewinski. Got the Panther here for El Dorado, straight into the 6-pounder gun, and the snipers there could also fire a few shots at the Panzer 4. Didn't need to. We do, by the way, have second Pioneer squad out here for Mr. El Dorado. Very important, with that much armor. He definitely wants more Pioneers repaired faster. And we do get the Panzer here from El Dorado, at which point he really should go for the officer, because the officer allows him to just basically get a second barrel arch out of his Panzerwerfer, which is immensely powerful. And there we go again, third hold the line. Pretty much looking to halt El Dorado's infantry push in its tracks. Snipers just keep sniping away there. Again, one can lose 1 to retreat before it gets swiped. Comet joining in the front here. But again, El Dorado is really just married to this idea of just rushing straight down the center here against VonLewinski. No attempts at flanking from the north or from the east. Definitely feel that is a bit tactically inefficient. But there you go. Panzerwerfer 42 there out for El Dorado. And again, that really works well with an artillery field officer. So again, I'm a bit surprised he still isn't going for any. Definitely describe that as a bit of a operational oversight there by El Dorado. And there you go, Panzer barrage there unleashed against VonLewinski. Total of 10 rockets of high explosive death here, raining down death from above here and killing 1 guy. So not the most impressive barrage, but at least now I suppose the warning shot has been fired against VonLewinski. Now he knows the Panzerwerfer's out there, and he may have to be a bit careful. More trenches are being dug here. VonLewinski's response to the rocket artillery is just to dig in harder. Almost got that good to go. Cromwell holding up here halfway to the east level. Got the Bakers in the trench, and certainly makes any kind of assault into it pretty difficult. So, again, El Dorado's commitment to this is starting to get a bit questionable, to put it very gently. You know, Jürgen, I can't help but feel like we as Germans sits is like, oh, I don't know, 20 years ago. Maybe we should consider something a bit smarter. Anyways, machine gun into the machine gun. Yeah, that's not going to work much out well here for El Dorado either. Is also fairly rebuffed here by VonLewinski's dug-in machine gun team, backed up by 2 snipers. Panzerwerfer's all ready to fire again here. (238 versus 204). Good shot there from the Ace Panther, entertaining the Panther 4. They're pushing it up to Vetsi 2 as well, though, at least against that. So what will Dorado go for next? We've got the sniper scream up here for the Westfield now. They're on the hunt. They're on the prowl. And the Grenadiers launch another head-on assault. Got the Panther barrage here to support it.
Trying to take one of our points.
There you go, using it to maybe smash the machine gun in the trench. Panther 4 knocked on the east side here. Tactically, it would appear that Dorado has run out of ideas. I don't know. He's almost got the Victors, but again, like,
Enemy threatening a capture point.
been paying a pretty high price for that. Pretty high price. So what will Dorado go for next if it's VonLewinski? Will it be a Panther? Will it be a Sturmpanzer? Will it be more Panzerwerfers? Will he ever go for the artillery field officer? Because, I mean, if he's going to attack head-on, like, you know, the smoke he can deploy would be quite handy, or at least just the mortars. So I definitely feel like Dorado there could kind of make this work if he just were to, like, make a few additions. But it seems like Dorado is really not a big fan of that.
Our troops are ready to dig in with air support.
Pantering in there. Panther push back, down to half health. That very low health section there. Almost being ripped apart here, but not quite. Got the Vickers moving, of course, still got those double snipers at it. Falls on the gun is back easily. Rifling is off here. Sappers flanking, about to get murdered out. Sappers annihilated. That's going to be a bit tougher here for VonLewinski to lose, since obviously it's going to make it hard for him to repair his armor, though in this case, his armor does need repairs. Continue assault straight head on here from Dorado. He is undeterred. No matter the cost, it would appear. Another Panzer barrage here. Dorado go for him, got the comp down against the Panther 4 here. Machine and they've been caught by, I assume, the concentrated vibration.
We've lost an anti-tank gun.
Panther 4 down to half health. Yup, direct hit annihilates the MG-34. Pull up with a lot of artillery strikes. Absolutely smashing the surrounding terrain further flat. That did not quite go too well there for Dorado. The manpower bleeding is also intense. It makes it difficult to go for any additional armor. Again, highlighting another issue with these head-on attacks here. They're just very, very manpower intense for very little to show for. So it does feel like Dorado's just sort of, you know, tactically run out of ideas. Like, he really should consider, again, like, outmaneuvering his opponent. Like, you know, flanking, using smoke. Anything rather than just constantly running his Grenadiers into a lot of snipers and a machine gun and 2 tanks. That just is really, really, really manpower intensive and really inefficient. It just feeds, you know, all of VonLewinski's units a lot of experience for very little effort. Panther is on the way there for Dorado, but will it be enough against VonLewinski's armored forces, in particular the now Ace Cromwell and the Comet, which is also still in game there, in part because, again, of all the free experiences gotten, just murdering Dorado's Grenadiers. Still, he's not really made any fun in the fuel points. I feel like he's, in this guy, like, they've both sort of been sucked into the center of the map for, I think, VonLewinski, though. He's got plenty of fuels he doesn't really need it, and at the same time beats out Dorado. Dorado can't make use of the fuel he's gaining either, so, I mean, in a sense, he's kind of, like, you know, got it figured out there. In fact, he's not able to go for the western victory point. Cromwell Ace rushing against the Panther on the flank here. Sneaking a few hits here on the Panzerkampfwagen. Quickly pushing down to half health. Meanwhile, the Panther is almost done. Dorado. We got the guns counter to the west here. Sappers hastily dispatched here. Of course, the combat nearby should be able to hastily dispatch the Grenadiers unless its gunnery turns very suspectly bad. But there you go. Another hold the line. There you go. Panther out for Dorado. So waiting a bit here. What will Dorado do now with the might of the Panther? Meanwhile, VonLewinski back to dig in here, preparing himself for another German assault here. Will Dorado go for the Melchett approach of just anticipating that his opponent must surely, by the 18th attack, be totally surprised when he repeats the same attack again and again. Like, you know, Really feels like we could sort of stumbling into that level of self-deception here for El Dorado's tactics. Moving up in the tank section onto the western fuel point here, or victory point. Snubs cleaning up some of the gunnies on the flank. Again, we'll need to retreat them now before they get exterminated. Panting hits from the 6-pounder gun there. Panther on the flank here. Pioneer spotting head. There you go. Panther barrage here. Right into the mix here of defenses. The trench there, though, screening the machine gun inside of it from most of the damage. And nearby surrounding units also take very little damage. Gunnies, meanwhile, are being absolutely just flattened here by machine gun fire, sniper fire. Panther diving against the Comet here. Comet halfway to the ace level snipers and packing here. The assault is just really not going anywhere from El Dorado. Tactically, he's just sort of done the exact same thing time and time again, and for some reason, El Dorado just keeps thinking that eventually it's going to have to work out there, when repeatedly it's so far proven itself to be not particularly efficient. There you go, Panther knocked out here, Panther knocked out. In fact, I think he may have just dropped out at this point. We're just waiting for the game to realise this. Yup, I think that's the case actually. I do believe that's the case. That is a GG here. I have to say in particular, it's a bit shame that El Dorado fell into this pattern on this map, because Amilly Fields is definitely a map that rewards good, you know, flexible understanding how to mirror on the map, and instead of like doing that, El Dorado pretty much just kept charging in between these two sheds and like just forgot about most of the time the rest of the map. Tactically, definitely inefficient. So I think El Dorado, while he started up, I think fairly well there, ultimately struggled, I think, to really accept the map for what it was, and I think that just kind of sabotaged his chances of winning, as VonLewinski, of course, read what El Dorado was doing, and of course, took the right countermeasures to basically deal it, at which point El Dorado, in a sense, just slowly ground himself to death, as VonLewinski just, you know, kept slapping away there from a nice, safe distance. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. I learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it. Tell friends, tell family, but don't tell enemies. This is Imperial Cheers. Thank you all for watching. Until tomorrow again for another episode. Bye.